extent of this, and this is a very big disaster in human terms, as the extent of this becomes increasingly obvious.
The Montreal, Maine and Atlantic Railway Company, the American owners of the train, said in a statement that after the crew parked the locomotive for the night, the air brakes likely failed, leaving a lethal load to barrel its way into town, crashing just a few feet from where people were enjoying a warm summer's night. Paul Newton, CNN, Lac Mégantic, Quebec.
Radical cleric Abu Qatada has started a fresh legal battle in Jordan just hours after he was deported from Britain. The deportation took years and cost millions as British lawmakers renewed their call for a change to the deportation law. More in this report.
Night time finally ran out for Britain's least welcome resident. These were Abu Qatada's last steps on British soil as he boarded a jet at RAF Northolt on a one-way ticket to Jordan. And this, his last look at the country, which has been trying to get rid of him for almost a decade.
It's an issue that, like the rest of the country, has made my blood boil, that this man who has no right to be in our country, who's a threat to our country, and that it took so long and was so difficult to deport him. But we've done it. He's back in Jordan. That's excellent news.
Arriving in Jordan, the cleric once dubbed Osama bin Laden's right-hand man in Europe was driven to court to be charged with involvement in terrorist attacks. His father, waiting outside, had this surprising view.
Everything is fine, and they might release him after some days. Thanks God.
That would be an extraordinary twist in this saga, and for the near future at least, this Jordanian prison is Qatada's new home. The Home Secretary, who struck a deal with Jordan to secure the extradition, now wants to make sure no one can manipulate the British legal process in the same way.
We need to make changes to our appeals processes, which we will do later this year in the immigration bill that the government's bringing forward, because I'm clear that we need to make sure that in future we can deport people more quickly.
There was a lot riding on Theresa May being able to finally deliver the deportation of a man who's been a thorn in the side of no less than 5 Home Secretaries. Now that Abu Qatada is back in Jordanian hands, there's relief, but also a determination to tighten the law so that the British government can never be in such a position of weakness again. Romilly Weeks, ITV News, Westminster.
We'll take another second break. We'll be back in a moment. It's now time to look at the weather report, courtesy of the Central Forecast Office.
The source assures us of a continuous flow, and from there, everything follows. And for those of us who know what the River Gambia stands for, understanding its sustainability in all aspects of life is easily confirmed. The River Gambia provides nutritious delicacies as food, while it provides its wildlife a balanced ecosystem. This river, as a sanctuary, is committed to its inhabitants' needs without season. And as you travel along, all these values are replicated in one company, Elton. Just like the River Gambia, leads in its commitment to values that matter most. Elton, championing the vision for a new generation.
Hello and welcome to the weather segment, beginning with a summary of the weather during the day today, followed by our forecast. The Gambia this afternoon was characterized by warm conditions, rain and thunder activities. The figures obtained as follows: Sapo recorded the highest with 19.8, Basse recorded 17.5, Yenyambure 15.4, Fatoto recorded 2.3, Ginoy 1.6, Karu recorded 0.8, and Kenawan recorded 3. For what will follow, let's start with a look at the satellite image captured at 16:30 hours, indicating the prevalence of rain bearing and medium-level clouds across the Gulf of Guinea states extending to the Senegambia areas. The north and the southern parts of the continent were generally dry and stable. And for our forecast tonight, conditions of the Gambia will remain partly cloudy, and the chances of rain, showers and thunder activities, particularly over the western sector of the country. And tomorrow morning will begin with cloudiness, becoming warm and partly cloudy thereafter, and this will be followed by rain and thunder activities. Winds will continue to be southwesterly in orientation, but generally light to moderate in speed. And morning temperature values will be 24 degrees Celsius rather over the greater Banjul areas, as well as over the west coast and the North Bank regions. And we are expecting 25 degrees Celsius over the lower river, central river, and the upper river regions. Top temperatures will be 30 degrees Celsius over the greater Banjul areas, and we are expecting 32 degrees Celsius over the west coast and the North Bank region. We are expecting 34 degrees Celsius over the lower river region, while central river and upper river region will receive or will record 33 and 32 degrees Celsius respectively. Low tides of 0.3 meters at 10 minutes past 4 a.m. and at 4:36 p.m. The high tides we're expecting to move of 2 meters at 10:55 a.m. and at 3 minutes past 11 p.m. The sun will rise at 6:40 and will set at 19:34. Thank you and do have a pleasant evening. Good night.
Well, before we go, a reminder of our top stories. European Union Managing Director for Africa, Nicholas Westcott, has held talks with President Jammeh as part of efforts to relaunch the political dialogue between the Gambia government and the European Union. Local government authorities from the Gambia, Zimbabwe, and Ghana are meeting to build consensus on the indicators of good governance ahead of the implementation of a dynamic peer review mechanism. Pro- and anti-Morsi camps are holding rival demonstrations as leading Egyptian political players seeking to form an inclusive interim administration engage in intense political horse trading. And residents of the Canadian town of Lac Megantic are trying to come to terms with the train derailment that killed at least 5 people and left many searching for their loved ones. That's all in this edition of the news. Thanks for your company, and stay tuned to Grts and enjoy our programs from me and the rest of the news team. Enjoy yourselves. Bye-bye.